Chapter 1. The Lost Path. I never planned to enter the forest. It wasn't part of the trip. It wasn't part of my life. But sometimes, you don't get to choose where you end up. Sometimes, the world decides for you. We were supposed to spend the weekend hiking. Just me, two friends, and a rented car. The road wound through the mountains like a serpent of mist. Then the storm came. It started as rain, soft and harmless. But within minutes, the sky turned black. The road vanished beneath sheets of water. The tires slipped. The world spun. And then, nothing. When I woke, I was lying against a tree. My head throbbed. The smell of wet earth filled my lungs. I called their names, but only the forest answered. No echo. No sound of cars. Just the whisper of wind through the branches. The car was gone. The road was gone. Everything familiar had vanished. I stood, trembling, my legs weak beneath me. My phone was cracked, the screen black. No signal, no map, no light. Only trees. Endless trees. I tried to retrace my steps, but every direction looked the same. The forest twisted upon itself. Shadows stretching like hands. I walked for what felt like hours. Yet the sky never changed. It stayed gray, heavy, eternal, as if the sun had forgotten this place. I found a clearing by a stream and stopped. My shoes were soaked, my fingers numb. The air smelled strange, like metal, like rain before lightning. I knelt to drink from the stream, but the water tasted wrong. Bitter, sharp, almost alive. That night, I built a fire. Just small twigs, a spark from my lighter. The flames struggled in the damp air. The forest around me was silent, too silent. No insects, no owls, not even wind. It was like the world was holding its breath. I tried to stay awake, but exhaustion pulled me under. My last thought before sleep was that I wasn't alone. When I woke, the fire was dead. The night was black, not the kind of black you see behind your eyelids, but the kind that swallows everything. I couldn't see my hands. I couldn't see the trees, but I could hear them. Footsteps, soft, deliberate, moving around me in a slow circle. I held my breath. My pulse pounded in my ears. The sound stopped. Then came a whisper. Faint, too faint to understand. But it was there. A voice. Human but not. I whispered back. Who's there? No answer. Just silence. When the first light returned, I saw footprints in the dirt. Not mine. Too large, too deep, and leading straight into the trees. I followed them, because what else could I do? Each step sank into the mud, each breath colder than the last. The footprints ended at a tree. Tall, hollow, split at the center like a wound. Inside the crack, something glimmered. A piece of fabric, red, torn, stuck on a splinter. I recognized it. It was part of my friend's jacket. I called her name again. Nothing. The forest swallowed my voice whole. I pushed deeper, past the hollow tree, into the shadows beyond. The air changed there. Heavier, thicker. The smell of rot lingered. I felt eyes on me. But when I turned, there was only the forest. At noon, I found a backpack, half buried beneath leaves, soaked through. Inside, a water bottle, a broken flashlight, and a notebook. The pages were smeared with dirt and rain. Only one line was legible, written in shaky letters. Don't follow the lights. I stared at the words, my hand shaking. Lights? There were no lights. Only gray, only trees. But that night, I understood. The first one appeared near the stream. Small, pale, flickering like a candle. Then another, and another. They hovered above the water, moving slowly, like they were alive, like they were looking for something. I remembered the note. But curiosity is louder than fear. I stepped closer. The lights shimmered softly, casting reflections on the wet stones. When I reached out, the nearest one moved away, slowly, inviting. And then I heard it. A voice. Faint, but clear. My name. It was her voice. My friend's voice. Claire. It came from the light, from the stream. I felt my knees, tears stinging my eyes. Where are you? I whispered. The light drifted closer, and beneath it, I saw a hand, pale, swollen, reaching from the water. I screamed and stumbled back. The lights vanished instantly. The stream turned black. The forest exhaled, and for the first time, I realized the truth. This place wasn't just silent. It was listening. I ran until my legs gave out. Branches clawed my face. Roots caught my feet. I fell, hit the ground hard. When I lifted my head, I saw something in the distance. A cabin, small wooden, half hidden by vines. Smoke drifted from its chimney. Someone was alive. I crawled toward it, calling out. No one answered. When I reached the porch, the door was open. Inside, the air was warm, but the fireplace was cold. The smell of smoke was old, and on the wall, carved deep into the wood, was a single word: run. I turned to leave, but there, standing in the doorway, was a shape, tall, human, watching me. Its face was hidden by shadow, its body still as stone. It didn't move, it didn't breathe, but I knew it saw me, because when I stepped back, it stepped forward. I bolted out the back door, through the trees, through the cold. I didn't stop until I couldn't breathe. When I finally looked back, the cabin was gone, vanished. Only the forest remained. I fell to my knees, crying, shaking, my heart echoing in the silence. That's when I heard it again, the whisper. Only this time, it came from behind me. Don't run. Chapter 2, The Hunter's Echo. I didn't dare turn around. The whisper lingered in the air like smoke. My body froze, but my heart refused to stop. I knew I wasn't alone anymore. Something was behind me, watching, waiting. I ran. Branches slashed across my arms. Roots pulled at my ankles. The forest moved with me, breathing in rhythm with my panic. Every shadow seemed alive. Every sound turned into footsteps. When I finally stopped, the world spun around me. I fell to my knees, gasping for air. The whisper was gone, but the echo of it stayed in my head. I couldn't tell if it came from outside or from inside me. The next morning, I woke in the hollow of a tree. The air was colder, sharper. The forest was darker than before. I could feel the sun somewhere above, but it couldn't reach me here. The trees were too thick. Their branches knotted together like ribs. I forced myself to move. I needed food, water, anything to survive. I followed the stream again, hoping it would lead me out. The water was clear this time. I drank carefully, pretending it tasted normal, pretending everything was normal. That illusion broke when I saw the deer. It stood across the water, perfectly still, its eyes locked on mine, black and endless. Then it took a step forward. Its leg bent wrong, backwards. The bones cracked softly as it moved. It smiled. I screamed and stumbled backward. The deer tilted its head, as if curious. Then it walked into the water. The surface rippled, and when the ripples faded, it was gone. No splash, no trace, only the echo of breaking bones in the distance. I kept walking after that. I didn't stop, didn't think, didn't breathe. The forest stretched on forever, a maze of identical trees. But eventually, I found something new, an old campsite, torn tents, rusted cans, a fire pit filled with bones. Human bones, small ones, too small, a child's shoe half buried in the dirt. Beside it, a wooden box. I opened it slowly. Inside were photos, black and white, people smiling in front of the same trees. Their eyes were scratched out. I dropped the box and ran. The wind rose suddenly, screaming through the branches. Leaves swirled around me, forming shapes that looked almost human. Faces, screaming, vanishing. When the wind stopped, I was standing in front of a cabin. Not the same one. This one was smaller, older. Its walls were covered in carvings. Animals, symbols, and names. Hundreds of names. Mine was one of them. My knees gave out. I didn't remember carving it. I didn't remember being here. But my name was there, clear as blood. I opened the door. The smell hit me first. Rot, mold, and something sweet, like flowers left too long in the sun. Inside, there was furniture, but it was wrong. The chairs were made of branches, the table carved from bone, and hanging from the ceiling, wind chimes made from teeth. I wanted to leave, but the moment I turned, I saw her, a woman, standing in the corner, her back to me, her hair long and dripping wet, her skin pale as moonlight. She didn't move, didn't speak, but her presence filled the room like smoke. Hello. My voice cracked. She turned slowly. Her face was wrong. Too long. Too smooth. Like melted wax. Her eyes were hollow. Her mouth open wide. Too wide. Stretching into a grin that split her face. You came back, she whispered. I stumbled backward, tripping over the doorframe. When I looked up again, the cabin was empty. No woman. No chaims. No carabines. Just forest. Like it had never existed. The sun was setting now. The shadows grew longer, reaching toward me like fingers. I ran again, not knowing where I was going. I just needed to move, because every time I stopped, the forest got closer. That night, I hid beneath a fallen tree. The cold bit through my clothes. I tried to stay awake, but exhaustion dragged me under. In my dreams, I saw her again, the woman, standing over me, her mouth moving in silence. When I woke, my hands were covered in dirt, and beside me, fresh footprints, border, human, leading deeper into the forest. I followed them, because that's what you do when you have nothing left. The prints wound through the trees, across roots, through fog, until they stopped at a lake, the same lake as before. The hole in the ice was wider now. Steam rose from it, carrying a smell like burnt wood and blood. Something moved beneath the surface. Something big. The water rippled, and a reflection appeared. Mine, but behind me. Her. I turned, and she was there, closer than before. Her smile gone. Her face calm now. She raised her hand slowly, pointing at the lake. Do you remember? She whispered. I shook my head. She stepped closer. Her eyes were black pits. You were one of us. Then she pushed me. The water swallowed me whole. The cold was a living thing, biting, burning, pulling me down. I tried to scream, but the lake filled my mouth. Shapes moved in the dark. Arms, faces, eyes, all of them open, all of them watching. I kicked upward, reaching for light, for air, for anything, and something grabbed my wrist. Pull me harder. A hand. Familiar. My own. When I broke the surface, the lake was gone. I was lying on the forest floor. Again, gasping, drenched in mud. The woman was gone too. Only the echo of her voice remained, drifting through the trees. Welcome home. I cried until there were no tears left. The forest stayed, silent. The wind stopped. Time stopped. And in that stillness, I finally understood. I hadn't found the forest. It had found me. Chapter 3, The Return. I don't remember how long I lay there. Minutes, hours, maybe days. The forest didn't care. It had no sense of time. Only hunger. Only silence. When I opened my eyes again, the sky was pale gray. Mist curled between the trees like smoke from a dying fire. My body ached. Every muscle felt torn. But I was alive. At least I thought I was. The lake was gone. In its place, a patch of frozen earth. No hole, no steam, no sign of water. Just frost and stillness. Had I imagined everything? The woman, the hand, the voices? Or was this forest bending reality around me like branches and wind? I walked, because that's all there was left to do. Walk, breathe, survive. The forest seemed quieter now, but it wasn't peaceful. It was the silence of something watching, waiting. I found the old trail again. Broken branches, faint footprints, and a piece of red fabric caught on a thorn. The same one I'd seen before, but the blood on it was fresh. My hand shook as I touched it. It was warm, still bleeding. I dropped it and ran. Hours passed, or maybe just minutes. The light never changed. The forest bent time like it bent sound. I screamed until my voice broke, but the echo never came back. Then, through the fog, I saw movement. A shape, tall, human, limping between the trees. I froze. Hello, I whispered. The shape stopped. Then it turned. It was my friend, or what was left of her. Her eyes were gone. Her mouth twisted into something like a smile. Her skin was gray, bent, feeling like bark. She raised her hand slowly, and I saw it. Her fingers bent backward, just like the deer's. You should have stayed, she said. I ran. I didn't look back, didn't breathe, didn't think. I just ran until my legs failed me. When I fell, I hit something solid. Concrete. A road. I cried, screamed, laughed. For the first time, I saw the world again. Signs, tire marks, the faint sound of wind that didn't belong to the forest. I followed it, one step after another. And then, headlights. A truck stopped. A man jumped out, wrapped me in a blanket, asked what happened. I couldn't answer. I just kept whispering. I found the way out. They took me to a hospital. Bright lights, white walls, clean sheets. People spoke softly, their faces full of pity. They said I'd been missing for 6 days. 6. But to me, it had been forever. They asked about my friends. I told them they didn't make it, that I'd seen them die, that something else had found them first. The doctors nodded, pretending to believe me. But I saw it in their eyes. They thought I was insane. Maybe I was. The nights were the worst. Even in that sterile room, I could hear the forest, the wind, the whispers, the slow crunch of footsteps circling my bed. I told the nurse once. She said it was trauma. I told her the forest wasn't done with me. She smiled sadly and turned off the lights. That's when I saw it again. In a window's reflection. The woman, standing in the corner of the room. Her face blank. Her hair dripping wet. She didn't move. Didn't blink. Just watched. I screamed. But when the lights came on, she was gone. The floor was wet. And on the glass, written in condensation, was one word. Stay. I begged to leave the hospital. They said I needed rest. But rest is impossible when the forest is inside you. When every sound is a whisper, every reflection a memory. On the 5th night, I woke to the sound of wind chimes. Soft, melodic, made of teeth. The same sound I'd heard in the cabin. It came from the hallway. I pulled the blanket over my head and prayed it would stop. It didn't. When morning came, my door was open. Mud covered the floor. Footprints led to my bed. Water. Vet. I followed them with shaking hands. They ended at the window. Outside, the forest. I was miles from it. But somehow, it was there, stretching beyond the parking lot. Dark and endless. Waiting. They released me 2 days later. I moved to the city, thinking I could forget. But the city sleeps too. And when it dreams, the forest breathes through it. Sometimes I see trees where there shouldn't be any. A cluster of roots pushing through concrete. Branches growing behind reflections. Once in the rain, I saw a shape standing at the corner of the street. Tall still, with hair dripping water. When the headlights passed, it was gone. I stopped sleeping after that. Stopped talking. I don't go near parks, or rivers, or anywhere the wind sounds like a whisper. But it doesn't matter. It always finds me. Last night, I heard the chimes again. Soft, delicate, calling me like a lullaby. When I looked outside, I saw the forest. Not in the distance, but right outside my window. The trees swayed slowly, their branches tapping against the glass. In the reflection, the woman smiled, and behind her, someone else. Me. I turned away, but the whisper followed. Don't run. I cover my ears, closed my eyes, and screamed until my throat tore. When I opened them again, the apartment was dark. The walls were damp. Roots crawled across the floor. And in the corner, the door of the cabin stood wide open. The smell of wet soil filled the air. The wind carried voices, laughing, crying, calling my name. I stepped forward, barefoot, trembling. The wood beneath my feet creaked. It felt familiar. Home. Inside, the woman waited. Her smile gentle now, her hand outstretched. Behind her, the forest pulsed with light. Thousands of pale orbs, floating like stars. Each one a memory, each one a soul. She whispered, "Come home." I took her hand. The world faded. The cold disappeared. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid. When people found the apartment days later, the window was open, the floor was wet, and carved into the wall, beneath the dripping water, were 3 words. She went home.